Okay.
Greetings, students, and welcome to this episode of The Professor Travel. I am your host, The Professor Travel, coming to you from Orange County, California. This is the website, the vlog, and the podcast that you come to in order to learn about different travel destinations. This is where you go in order to discuss them as a community. Hopefully, this inspires you to travel more and ultimately enjoy life more. Now, you can reach me at a variety of different social media sites, including at The Professor Travel, which is my website. You can also reach me through both YouTube and Facebook at The Professor Travel. I'm now available on TikTok for those of you who use that. You can find me on TikTok at The Professor Travel. If you're an Instagrammer, you can find me at _professor_travel. On Twitter, I'm available at TheProfessorTR1. And if you're a blogger, you can find me on Blogspot at theprofessortravel.blogspot.com. Today, I have a very special visiting professor coming to us. I would like to introduce you to Shahbaz Syed. Say hello to the students and the audience, Shahbaz.
Hello, students and audience.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on to this. Now, we're right in the middle of Ramadan right now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and a happy Ramadan to you and blessed to you.
Thank you. You as well.
Oh, thank you so kindly. I appreciate that. Now, for my students who have not had an opportunity to meet you and don't know a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, today we're going to talk a little bit about a trip that you took last year to Saudi Arabia during an event called Umrah. So not the Hajj specifically, but it was another event. But before we get into that, for the benefit of my students to understand a little bit more about you, would you be kind enough to tell us a little bit about your educational background, a little bit about what you do for a living, and then maybe some places that you've traveled?
Sure. So I am a bachelor's graduate from Cal State Fullerton University in California, and currently I studied in public relations and event designing. Mm-hmm. So currently I have my own freelance event designing business, and I do floral design, event design for all occasions. The name of the business is called A Seed and Stone. Think outside the vase.
That's great. And we'll talk. If it's okay with you, I'm going to give them your link in just a little bit as well. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
And just again, so that people understand, what are some of the different travel destinations that you've been to in the past?
Yeah, so I'm originally from I'm Arab Indian, born in Pakistan. So I've been in USA for about 37 years. And I have, of course, been to India, Pakistan, my trip to Saudi Arabia last year. Mm-hmm. I've been to Canada, Mexico, Hong Kong, and also Amsterdam and Copenhagen.
Nice.
To name a few.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing those. But for the purpose of this vlog and podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit more about a trip that you took to Saudi Arabia, which I'm very excited to understand about. So this was for an event called Umrah. Can you tell my students a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, Umrah is like a mini pilgrimage to Mecca, and it can be done anytime during the year. And it's not mandatory as Hajj is. Hajj is actually, Islam is made up of 5 pillars. The first is accepting the faith, and then the second one is to have the belief in the God, and like the 5 pillars, like acceptance. Mm-hmm. Also practicing the fasting. Mm-hmm. The acceptance of the oneness of God, and then also the 5th pillar is pilgrimage to Mecca. Mm-hmm. And that one is not, it's obligatory if you're able to afford it and if you have the health and the financial well-being to go there. But if you're not able to, then it's not required. And it only takes place in the month of Hajj, okay. Whereas Umrah can be done anytime during the year.
That makes sense.
So that's why, for my first time, I went there to see the Kaaba, to see the Prophet's Mosque in Medina, and do several little, rituals.
Well, we're going to talk about all those different things that you did on the itinerary. I'm going to be very excited to know more about that. Now, for planning this kind of a trip, though, how long did you have to start planning for this once you knew that you wanted to go?
So this was a sudden plan for myself because actually one of my siblings ended up treating me this trip as my birthday gift.
Oh, nice.
So that's how I was able to go. And but usually I would recommend that you plan a month or two in advance. Check out the various different flight options. To see special deals.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I found out like literally 2 weeks prior to the trip, so I had to get my visa done.
Wow.
Visa, they've made things much easier for applying for visa for Saudi Arabia. It's online now, so it's like $80-$90, depending on when you're going, and then they send you the link within a week. If you can get us, and then of course going to get your passport from the USA, going to downtown LA, and they can do it the same day, or they can do it in 3 days.
Nice. So that sounds like it's a much more efficient process than potentially it had been in the past.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, in preparation for this trip, did you have to get any type of travel medications, like inoculations or anything, or were you fine?
I was fine. I was already up to date, but they require you take the different tests that we had discussed about. Other than that, just to make sure you're healthy before you're traveling. But there was nothing specific.
Okay.
You had to take with you.
Not a problem. And then finally, and before we get started and talking about the pre-packing process, were there any times so you're going to Saudi Arabia for Umrah, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a religious event. Do you have to prepare yourself like how you do with Ramadan? Do you have to fast for a certain amount of time? Do you have to do anything specific as far as special preparations on eating? Talk to me a little bit about that. Did you have to do anything in preparing your body for this?
There wasn't any specific dietary things you needed to do, but I think the more important was to put that intention into your mind and heart that you're going there to meet to see the house of your Lord, who created that, and prepare like what your intention is, what is it that you want to spiritually improve on, things like that. It was more like a spiritual preparation.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, so now let's talk about the physical pre-packing process. Now, you're going to be going there for how long?
So I went there for 5 days.
Okay.
I left here on Sunday, and I got there Monday evening. Okay. And it was a 16-hour flight, direct flight from LAX to Saudi Arabia through the Saudi Airlines.
Okay.
And I was going to be there for 5 days total, so I was there until Friday evening.
Okay. And what did you have to pack for that type of a trip? I mean, it can't be well, I don't know. How was the weather? Was it cold? Was it hot? I mean, what was it? What were you looking at?
It was a warm weather. They had, I think the first day we got there, it rained there, so it was kind of spring, summer, I would say, type of weather. So, it was raining the first 2 days that I got there. So we had to have jackets, wear something comfortable.
Okay.
And but for the Umrah process, when you make the intention to go there, you have to have your specific garments, which is for a woman, they have to wear fully clothing, whereas men, they have to wear 2 pieces of garment that you wrap around your waist, and then you have at an angle you wear it's like 2 pieces of towels, more or less. They have to be unstitched pieces of clothing that are held by a belt.
Okay, and what is that called?
It's called a harem. Harem outfit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you learned the hard way that you should have put that in your carry-on. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that's what I was like. So for me, it was the first time, so I didn't know the specifics, even though I had read about it. But practicing is one thing, and then reading about it is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed when I received my garment, I packed it in my suitcase as opposed to my carry-on, because I'm supposed to carry on the outfit with me on the airplane. And prior to landing at Saudi Arabia, people who are intending on doing the Umrah, they have to wear that garment before they get out of the airplane.
Got it.
And get their intentions ready prior to that. But since I didn't have my outfit, even though I prayed, I wasn't wearing the outfit that I need to wear when I arrived at the airport. So I had to do an extra step, whereas I had to go to a mosque and do the preparation there, and then I'm not sure exactly what the correct term is.
It's like a penance you have to provide.
Like a penance.
Yeah,
like a penance, where you have to sacrifice a lamb or a goat, and donate that to like the needy and the poor people, so your Umrah is accepted.
Okay. So is this something that you pay for the cost of livestock in order to be provided to the poor, or is it something that you just give like a cash donation? How does that work?
No, you have to actually get the livestock and have it sacrificed.
Okay.
And then the meat being distributed to the poor people, or the needy people. Okay.
Cool. Well, that's good.
I mean, if you can't do it, then you have, you pay somebody else to do it on your behalf.
To butcher it, obviously, because you're not a butcher by trade. But right. At the same time, it's like, okay, you select. Do you actually go through the selection process, or is it more like I give this over to this person to provide to these poor?
Yeah, I mean, they recommend that you go there and select you go through the selection process yourself.
Okay.
And if you're able to sacrifice the animal, with then that's recommended. But if you're not able to, and you don't have that facility or availability to do that, then you can have another person who is able to do that for you.
That makes sense.
Them to do that.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not a butcher by trade either. So I mean, if I was to go there, I would certainly want someone else to be able to help guide through that process. So, so we're going to skip over the next couple of parts where we'll talk about pre-vacation destinations, since it sounds like it was a direct flight, although it sounds like it was a very long flight. So hopefully you got to stretch out a little bit on the flight. How was the customer service on the flight?
Yeah, the customer service was very good, and most of the airplane, like more than half the airplane, was empty. So people were able to, take over seats and make your own little bed, combining a couple of chairs,
That's nice.
And of course, they give you those like small little pillows and blankets that are like, really squishy. And I came up with a concept of putting 4 or 5 pillows together in one small blanket and making a big, like a roll, and using that as a pillow. And then I went to all the different guests who were trying to give them recommendations on how to sleep better.
It's like a sleeping bag on a plane. So congratulations. No, that's good. But getting off the plane, so where does the plane land? What is the city that you're in?
Oh, it lands in city of Jeddah. That's the main city that is close to Mecca.
Okay.
So they have a Jeddah International Airport.
Okay. And what were your accommodations there? Were you staying with family? Did you stay at a hotel? What was it like?
Yeah, we stayed at 3 different hotels. There, we stayed at the Mecca Tower Hotel. That was like literally like across from where the Mecca, where the Kaaba holy site is.
Okay.
So, and that was the first 2 nights we stayed there. Then we went to Medina which is another city about 6 hours from Mecca. So we drove there. So we had transportation, which was part of a package that we had signed up with that included hotel stay and transportation from airport to the hotel, and then from the hotels to the destination of Medina, and then return back to the hotel, and then from the hotel to the airport.
And for the benefit of my students who are out there who may not understand the whole premise behind this, this is basically, as you're going through Umrah, I assume it's similar in some ways to Hajj in that you're going to the specific sites that Muhammad went to as he went through his, like as he came down off the mountain, once he talked to Allah, and then went to Mecca talking to them about how their gods were wrong, and then he had to flee to Medina and things like that. Is that pretty similar to the same process that you went through?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of the specificness of like for example, for the pilgrimage or Hajj, there's like a 10-day ritual process that you do, and you go to the different sites, and you do your prayers, and those are specifically also, if you're able to do all of them during Umrah, you can.
Okay.
But the main ones are like going to the Mecca and doing the rituals there, and then also going to Medina and doing a couple other rituals there, and then between those two, if you have time, and usually they recommend you 10 days to 12 days for this specific journey. But if you don't have that and you're only there for 5 days, then you can get done as much as you can.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the itinerary then. This is where I'm going to let you kind of take over a little bit and talk to us about what you did as you went through these 5 days. Talk to us about the individual locations that you were at and kind of what a person would have expected going to this during this specific time of year that you went and did this.
Okay.
You want to start with Mecca?
Sure. Yeah. So we got there about, we arrived on Monday, and Monday in the like a late afternoon. Then we were picked up by the transport from the airport to take us to Mecca. But prior to getting to Mecca, I had to go to the mosque and change into my correct outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And since our trip afterwards, we were going to go to Pakistan. So of course, it was myself, my sister, my brother, and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 8 suitcases and 4 carry-on.
Has a lot of suitcases carrying.
So one of my cousins was able to meet us at the site of Mecca, where we were going to. When we arrived at the airport, and he was able to take, I think 10 of our suitcases from us.
Okay. And
then the other remaining items, we took with us. So at that point is when I got my garment out, and then we went to the mosque, and I did my ghusl, which is like the washing and making the intention to go to do my Umrah.
Okay.
And then after I changed into that, then we went and checked into our hotel. And of course, while I was there, I was looking at the venues and how clean they were, and what kind of decor they have. Like in the United States, we go to main hotels, and we see the ambiance and the decorations, the floral designs. I was also mindful of getting some ideas about how I can improve my skills, or what kind of mechanics they had used there.
Nice.
For design stuff as well. And then after we checked into our hotel, then we walked to the Mecca. To the Kaaba, and it was about I would say like a maybe 10-minute walk there.
Okay.
And especially if you are going there, I would recommend if you're if you have leg injuries, and they do have they provide wheelchairs. There are a lot of people, you can rent somebody to drive you around in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And so after we got there, then we went and did our prayers at the Makkah mosque, and then after that we went and walked. Then we had to go to the Kaaba, and we had to go 7 times around the Kaaba.
Now the Kaaba is the large black cube that you see in Mecca. Is that correct?
That's the Kaaba. Yeah, that's the Kaaba.
Okay.
And that's been there since the beginning of time, where Prophet Abraham had gone there and built that specific site. And people, throughout the years, they would actually have all their gods and idols there before Islam came and take over and got rid of the idols that were there.
Nice.
So that's been originally there for many thousands of years. So when you go around the Kaaba, you have to do like specific prayers when you come around the corners, and then you read specific prayers while you're walking around. And then you have to also, there's a part of the Kaaba that you have to touch. They also have a original stone that is from the heavens that is also on one side of the Kaaba.
Mm-hmm.
And people, go and touch it, and they, kiss it and pray by it after you're done with the seven circles. So, they have, so like when you're closest to the circles, of course, the circles are smaller, or the rings are smaller, but it can expand as far as, a mile circle as you go around. As the fronts gets filled up, they have different tiers where people, also walk around.
Okay.
So I was advised that during the month of Hajj, that place is so packed that people sometimes they don't even leave. They just spend the night at the Kaaba, at the Kaaba and the mosque.
Well, of the videos I've seen of the ritual, it seems very busy during the month of Hajj. And like you see how packed it can get.
Yeah, it gets really, really packed, and I was just like, I was there during Umrah, and I was like, when we got there the first day, there wasn't that many people because it had rained that day.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, people had just like, it was so packed that people were telling me that, oh my God, that this is like as packed as a day of Hajj, more or less. It wasn't as much as that, but it was like more than half.
It's one of those like, oh, it just so happened to be a really, really busy time. So
yeah. And usually, I guess Saudi Arabia has made the restrictions much easier for people to get there.
Okay.
Because they have made the visa online, and they have opened it up more. So people of different countries and travel agencies have been taking advantage of that to get more people to go there.
Okay.
So they have tours of people that come there, and so after you do the rings, then you go to another section, which is the Mount of Safa and Marwa are the two mountains that Hagar, Abraham's second wife,
mm-hmm.
Who was left in the mountains with her baby. So she ran from one mountain to the next mountain looking for water or for food for the baby because the baby was crying.
Okay.
So she would go to one mountain and pray to God, and then she would run to the other side and pray to God. So she did this 7 times. So they have those 2 exact mountain locations there, and at that site, you see a part of the rocks, and then they have this walking pathway set up where you go onto one side and then you come back around to the other side. But even on that pathway, they have a section where in that specific section you have to run. So you're walking a portion of it, but then when you get to a specific section, they have it marked.
Everybody dashes basically.
Yeah, so you have to like run it. They have like a section that green lights that they have on the ceilings. So to mark the sections, like, so when you get to that section, you have to start running, and then you can walk the rest of it.
Okay.
So it's on both sides because to signify how Hagar had ran in that section. So we're kind of like reliving that portion to signify that.
How, just out of curiosity, how far does a person have to run? Is it like more than a quarter of a mile, or is it less than that?
It's less than that. It's like, I would say maybe 30, 40 feet.
Okay.
Run.
So it's more it's more symbolism. Okay.
Yeah. I can send you a photo of that if you wanted to include it. But otherwise, it's it's not a huge section.
No, that's okay. Please continue.
So then after you do that, then once you get to each end, you have to do a little prayer, then you come back around.
Okay.
So once that is done, then you go to the Kaaba, and there's a section where they have the Zamzam water. So Zamzam water is a water that appeared for after Hagar had done her 7 rounds from a natural spring under the ground.
Okay.
And that water still runs to this day. Of course, they have specific pipelines installed to make sure that the water is available in all the different fountains throughout the Kaaba area.
Okay.
And then they also transport that water to Medina as well.
Okay.
And that water has it's so natural, and it also has healing properties. So people who drink it, they don't tend to get sick as much, And when I was there, I mean, it just seemed so surreal that I didn't have stomach pains while drinking this specific water, and also I felt more like, I would say, like more alive in a way, like more spiritual, like more in tuned with myself and being there. It was just like very surreal like emotionally.
Well, it was a spiritual awakening for you, it seemed.
Yeah, like a spiritual awakening, right.
Awesome. So then is your next stop after this then to Medina, or?
Yeah, then after that we did 2 Umrahs, like 2 at the Kaaba, and then after that we left the hotel on Wednesday and drove to Medina, which is about, I would say, 5 to 6 hour drive. It's like a trip from like here to San Francisco, more or less.
So you can't walk it?
You can't walk it.
Okay.
So, you're driving to the desert, and it's hot. I mean, we went there during spring, so it wasn't as hot, but I'm sure it would be hotter with people, who go on any other months.
Yeah.
And when we get to the Medina, we checked into our hotel. The hotel that we got wasn't the best accommodation, so everybody was complaining about the accommodations for that specific location. And then, but the following night, we were able to stay at another hotel. At the Medina, they have a specific. They have one specific entrance, which is specifically like the woman's entrance. Most of the entrances are blocked off because in Islam we believe that modesty and is very high, so they want to separate the woman and the men's, so you can concentrate more on the spirituality level of this. So they have certain entrance into the mosque for women. So originally, when we were staying at the specific hotel, we had requested to be closer to the women's entrance, which was gate number 21 and 22, but we were on the opposite side, which was gate 15. So it was a longer walk, for my sisters to get in there.
Okay.
But so the mosque is so huge inside. I mean, of course, like the experience itself was like amazing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they had these like, I would say, like umbrella like tents outside.
Yeah.
That opened up. Like at nighttime they closed down, and then in the morning they opened up to cover up the outside patio praying area.
Yes.
Because the mosque is so filled that people have to line up outside to pray.
Okay.
So we go to the mosque, we do our prayers. In the mosque, they also have the memorial burial for the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
Peace be upon him. I guess back in the day, it was open, so people can actually go walk up to the the memorial like the mausoleums and pray on there.
Yeah.
But over the years, because of population increase and they had to do a lot of expansion, they have closed that section off with like ornate designs for like paneling around it. Yeah. So you can't go touch it, but you can see through the cracks of the design the actual mausoleums that are there.
Wow. Okay. But I mean, at least you can see it. You can't necessarily touch it, but you can see that they're there. Yeah,
you can see that they're there. Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
So, and there's so many people there that want to go there, so they have to. I mean, they have like, I would say the government security or the army are, they have to guide people to, to keep the traffic going so people don't hurdle up there.
Sure, I can understand that.
And then there's also a portion where people say that a portion of the prayer area is like a direct connection to like the heaven. Mm-hmm. It's what so people sometimes go and make prayers in that section also. So they have the original Prophet, peace be upon him's mosque there, and then of course they have expanded out the outer portions with extra construction area, and they're continuing to do more building there as well. So after we went to we saw his memorial, we did all prayers there. Then we came out, and then there's the burial. There's also a cemetery next to the mosque where all the spiritual imams or the caliphate or the prophet's wives, they're all buried in that specific cemetery.
Nice.
Which is next to it, so people go there and they do special prayers for the people who have passed away. Mm-hmm. And if you have a guide, sometimes guides will tell you like, oh, this specific prayer, this specific grave is for such and such, and it's just, like you're just there, you're just like, wow, like these people have struggled, when the Islam came, and what endurances they had to take while, when the Islam was first introduced, and what journeys they had to do to get there, So it's like a big commendation to be buried at that specific cemetery.
Excellent. I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Apart from Umrah and Hajj, are there other events that would take you to both Mecca and Medina as the year goes on?
No, those are the two specific ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Umrah you can do anytime during the year. I mean, you can do as many Umrahs as you want. It's just like a self-purification process. Mm-hmm. If your Umrah gets accepted, so your past, sins or discretions are forgiven, so you can move forward. So some people, go hundreds of times to do Umrah itself. I mean, of course, people who live there, they have the luxury of doing that,
Of course, yeah. So let me ask you this then. After Medina, do you have to head back to Mecca at this point in order to head baback home? Or to head back, actually, your next stop after this is going to be Pakistan, correct?
Yeah, but after Medina, you have to come back to Mecca before, because the flight that we left from was Jeddah International Airport. So mm-hmm. That's the one specifically, that airport is specifically designed for people who are coming for Umrah and the Hajj to do that.
I'm really surprised that they don't have a separate airport at Medina or close to Medina, so that once you're done going from Mecca to Medina, you could just take off from there. I'm really kind of surprised that they don't do that. Or do they?
Yeah. No, you have to come back to Mecca to finish the Umrah process.
Oh, okay. So it's starting in Mecca, then you go to the mountains, then you go back to Mecca, then you go to Medina, and then you go back to Mecca again, correct?
No, you go to Mecca, then you go to Medina, and then you come back to Mecca, and that's it.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, so just like a U, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, what I'm going to do then is we'll focus on the return process in another video, because I want to make sure to focus on that separate video being about Pakistan and this one specifically being about Saudi Arabia. But just as some post-vacation thoughts, just if you were speaking to my students, what would you say are the pros of going on a trip like this? What are the advantages, do you think?
Yeah, the advantage of it is, you're getting a new experience from another country's point of view, and learning more about that culture and seeing how their daily life is around a specific spiritual journey, as opposed to you coming from another country and experiencing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when I was there, Saudi Arabia is a specific country where the working class is different than any other countries. I guess one con would be like the people who are coming from different countries. It's like you can't. You have to do like service jobs, as opposed to people who are actually Saudi born, who have the Saudi lineage. They're the only ones who don't do any kind of government, security, army kind of jobs.
Yeah.
So when you're there, you're like, oh. So there's like the Bangladeshis, the Pakistanis, the Indians, Sri Lankans, all these other people who are living there. They do service jobs like cleaning, hotel services, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have you learn about that, and also in terms of the experience, what the culture is like, and how you have to be careful, and you can't take pictures over there without people's permissions.
Because of the face, you want to make sure you're not taking pictures of people's faces, correct?
Yeah. It's also here too, but over here people take candid pictures. Over there, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's like looked down upon, especially at the religious sites.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, just so my students are aware, are there any type of value adds, cost savings, or best practices that you would want to share with them? Like, do you think it's better to book through a travel agent? Do you think it's better to book on your own? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, in terms of, I would recommend if it's your first time, to shop around and see what value packages are available for to go to, for your Umrah trip or your pilgrimage trip. But then at the same time, also cross-reference that if you were able to do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went there, I had booked, we had done our flights through online booking. We were able to get less expensive rates. But when we did our transportation and hotel accommodations, we did it with this one person who was highly recommended. But unfortunately, when we got there, the service that they had charged us for did not equate to the service that was provided.
That's unfortunate.
And so, if we spent $2,500, but when we calculated the transportation amount separately from the hotels we were staying at, we could have done it for less than $1,200.
So I think you're getting to, you want to definitely research before you take a trip like this to make sure you're getting the best price and the best quality. Maybe look at some reviews, things like that. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, I would recommend that.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you, Shahbaz. And I really appreciate you sharing all this information with my students as well. This has been really educational for me too. So thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this experience, hopefully you'll come back again so we can discuss Pakistan, because I'm really interested in knowing more about that as well.
Sure, definitely.
Thank
you. A little longer trips. I would love to share that with you as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, before we get going though, I know that you have a business that does floral design and different events. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been doing. I fell into floral designing. Didn't know I had that creativity back in 2005. So for the past 15 years, I've been doing floral design for events, weddings, nonprofits. Mm-hmm. Also, I do private floral designs for homes or real estate companies, and also if you wanted to order a specific design for a special occasion. So I have, I have my website is seedandstone.com. Also available on Instagram and Facebook under the same name.
Awesome. Now, just again, so for my people that are on the podcast and who are not looking at this, it's www.aceed, ASeedandStone.com, all one word, ASeedandStone.com.
Thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to join you and share my experience.
Oh, I appreciate it. I really did learn a lot, so thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And for my students that are out there, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to know more about, you can always send me an email at scott@theprofessortravel.com. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And then if you want to be informed when new videos are coming out, hit the bell icon at the top of the screen in order to be able to know when those happen. If you're listening on one of the podcasts, though, please give us a rating. But until our next time, make every day a travel adventure. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.